Hey everybody, Manny Talavera here, and I want to welcome you all back to the 17-day course creation challenge with Manny, Stacy, and Emily. We're now on day 4, and day 4, you really should be hitting the ground running. If you went through all 3 days of the training and you've went through the first 3 days, you should be creating your titles, creating your modules. You should be building something. You should be trying to put all of those pieces of the puzzle together. And so you should be in action and momentum now. And so what I'm going to do here in day 4 is we're going to talk about money and impact for a few minutes. And then I've got a very simple dare for you to do. And so early on in the beginning, I told you don't put don't number your PowerPoints. Don't mention the video or the number in the PowerPoint. Don't mention current events because you don't want to date your material. The other thing I want to tell you is don't mention the pricing anywhere when you create anything. Never talk about the price of what you're selling while you're creating it because your prices are going to change. They're going to go up. Now, sometimes they're even going to go down, but in general, your pricing is going to go up and up and up and up and up. And then the other thing you want to think about is if you create a modulated course, you're going to charge one price for that. But later on, you might sell that as a home study course where they don't have access to you, you're going to sell it for a different price. And that's the reason you don't want to reference pricing. But the big thing is your pricing is going to go up based on a couple of things. And so when what I want you to do while you're building this thing out, I want you to build it like you would be selling it for 2,500 or 5,000 or $10,000. Even if you're just going to sell it for 37 or 97 or 247 or 297 or 497, doesn't matter what you're going to charge for it right now. Treat it like you're going to be selling it for a lot of money. Deliver the best value that you can. Bring the most heat. Don't leave any stone unturned. Give them as much as you can because ultimately what's going to happen is your prices are going to go up. This is the thing. You might want to charge 2,500 or 5,000 right now, but you can't because you don't have the confidence. That might be one reason. Another reason you might not charge 2,500 or 5,000 is you don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the audience. You don't have the group of people that could give you the money. But I want you to understand something. Don't confuse the fact you don't have that audience with the fact that you don't feel like that you're not don't have that value because you don't have the audience because you do. Like I said, and what you'll find is that as you get more and more audience, you charge more and more, and you get more impact. You're able to move up the ladder of the thought leader chain, and you're able to get in front of more people and charge more money. And so I'm going to give you some examples of this. Christian Mickelson, he's a life coach. I don't remember when I came onto his radar. I had a few conversations with him way back in the day, and he had I think he had a product called Strategy Sessions that sell or something like that. And he was no, I don't remember because I think that's my title. He had something like that though. He had something similar to that, and he was charging 297 for it. I think either 147 or 297 for it, and he was probably struggling a little bit. This was probably right at the beginning of his career, but within like a year, he just completely blew up. And that same course or same product that he was selling for 147 or 297, he was selling the same product for $2,000 and selling hundreds, if not thousands of them. And I mean, he went on to make millions of dollars. I mean, I remember when he built, I think he built like a $1 million house in California. And this has been, like I said, many years ago. And he had the house custom built. And like I said, he just blew up in 1 year. And so what I want you to think about is it's all about, building the audience and building your messaging and getting comfortable being in front of people and just thinking about what this can all look like when you get really comfortable and you ultimately get in front of the right audience. The money's going to come based on supply and demand more than anything. Supply and demand into who you're selling to. And that's what I want you to think about. I'm going to tell you another story that's very similar, but somewhat different. So Jerry Seinfeld, about 6 or 7 years ago, he did a 90-minute comedy show at Carnegie Hall. He got paid $3 million for it, and he was doing a talk about that, and he said that 90% of the content that he did on that 90-minute that concert at Carnegie Hall was the same 90 minutes that he was doing in New York on a street corner for tips. 90% of the content was the same, just a little bit of addition. The only difference was the audience, right? So um, what we're talking about here is someone who's a starving artist who becomes extremely famous, rich and famous, and that's what it looks like. And how that industry worked and probably still works today, if the people are really hungry. Jerry Seinfeld's mindset was that there's an audience everywhere, and the goal of a stand-up comic is to basically do as many sets, as many shows per day as possible. And most of the time, they didn't even get paid any money. So even when they were working in comedy clubs and they were unknown, they were either getting paid $10 to $15 a day, or in some cases, not getting paid at all. And so what they would do is go from comedy club to comedy club to comedy club to restaurant to any place that would hear him. And I think Jay Leno said he used to go to nursing homes and do it. But Seinfeld would basically in New York on a corner basically put a hat out and start doing comedy. And he said that 90% of the content was the same content he was getting paid pennies for. And now he's made, makes $3 million in 90 minutes or whatever. And so what I want you to think about when you're building all of this, you're doing it for a higher good. And ultimately, what's going to happen is you're going to get in front of more people who can give you more money, and you're going to be able to do that. And then the other thing is, who would you ultimately want to be in front of, and who would you ultimately want to be working with? And the great thing about this is we're teaching you how to sell anything it is that you want to sell. So what you're selling right now, the niche that you're selling to, the thing that you're selling into might not even be the thing that you're selling in a year or 2 years. You might create something much better with a different group of people. I can tell you, I've worked with a lot of different niches. And so, um, what do you want to do? What do you strive to want to be? I can tell you my goal is to ultimately, you know, make make enough money to move into a different direction. And so I'm going to talk about that with you for a minute. So what is your goal? Is your goal to make $1 million or $2 million and then relax and do mission work and do things that you want to do and things that are more interesting to you? Is that the goal, to build a few million and move off? Or do you want to build a few million, create a few million to build a business and a movement? And what it looks like is, there, like I said, you've got two different paths. Some people can make $1 million or $2 million and kind of retire and slow down. And then some people are going to make $1 million or $2 million, and they're going to use that money as an accelerant to build a very, very large business, being on very large platforms with much, much bigger people. And that's like my goal, right? So my goal is to do that. My goal is to be Alex Hermosi smart. You know what I mean? To work with small to mid-sized businesses that bring in anywhere from $3 million to $30 million a year, because I feel that that's where I can have the most impact. That's the people that I can help the most. And this is the thing. I love working with startups. Love working with small business owners, but like I said, very, very difficult to get startups off the couch, get them out of their own mindset, out of their own way. And the further along businesses are, the more generally I can help them. So my goal is to build a $2 or $3 million business and then take that money to turn it into an alexhermosiacquisition.com type of an offer. Alex right now, I think he does, I would say they're probably either 2 hours or maybe 3 hours. They might be four, but I doubt they're that long. They might be 1 or 2 hours. But he charges $5,000 to do a business audit. And what he does is he brings people in who have businesses, both online and offline businesses, and they just basically do an audit with that business or strategy session, and they look at that business and they tell the person everything that's wrong with it, all of the different ways they can improve on it, and they probably make a coaching offer at the end. But the $5,000 audit is extremely valuable. By the way, Jay Abraham and Chet Holmes were charging 25,000 for business audits, and it's pretty much the same thing. And I can tell you, not a lot of difference between a strategy session and a business audit, depending on how people run those. But Hermosi's, like I said, probably getting 5,000 for two hours of work there, and they're probably doing, you know, 5 to 8 a day on the days they're doing those. But I've seen a lot of people who've done videos about going through those. And my goal is to be at that level. So Alex Hormozi Smart, working with $3 million to $30 million businesses, and basically helping those people to expand and grow on what they're doing. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you all a dare. And what I want you to do is my question is very simple. If money was no object, who would you serve and how would you serve them? Would you be doing the exact same thing you want to do now, or do you have a goal to be on a bigger stage with bigger people, working in a different niche, or working with bigger offers? And just tell me about that. You can actually create a short video if you like, or you can actually just write this out. It's up to you. But I would like you to do the @Dare4 and the 17-day course creation challenge with Manny, Stacy, and Emily, and post it in the coaches, consultants, and course creators group. You can post it in this group here as well, and then you can also post that in the other group, the networking group with Stacy, or the collaboration group, one of those. We just want you to, my goal here is that you put the message in the CCC group, because there's 9,700 people in that group, and you need to share your message in front of a bigger audience. And that's the goal here, to kind of flex that muscle. And this is the thing: if it scares you to put a video in a group with 9,700 people in it, that's the very reason you need to put a video in a group with 9,700 in it, to flex that muscle. But we appreciate you, and we will see you all on day 5, and thanks a lot.